to know Joey and him this offseason?
Aguilar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Joey. He's been great. Very personable guy. He's been there, done that. Kind of knows how things work in college football, and just being able to learn from him, also compete with him, push each other. It's been great.
What's maybe the biggest piece of advice he's given you so far?
Piece of advice, I've just been able to see that everybody comes from a different journey. He's got a very unconventional journey to being here at Tennessee, and I think everybody has their different ways, and it can work out many different ways.
You hear Joey talk about most of the guys try not to lose it instead of going out to win it. When you are going into this competition, you're kind of going in as like this true freshman who's like thought of as like the third opportunity, right? Like, does that free you up a little bit just to go and just kind of free will it? I'm not saying just like play like careless, but at the same time just play with no pressure.
Yeah, I would say so. I think just competing every day, just the same, trying to be a competitor, with whatever the situation is. But I think also what you said is definitely part of it. I think it's a fun opportunity to be in the competition as a freshman, and just very blessed to be in that position.
You put on 20 plus pounds since you got here.
Yeah.
Where can you tell it? Can you tell it in arm strength? Can you tell it in just your base when you're throwing? Like, where do you see it?
Yeah, I'm still trying to see it a little bit. I think it's when you're this tall and skinny, it's kind of hard to tell. But I think my velocity has gone up quite a bit, throwing sideline to sideline, as much as we do in our offense. I would say velocity, I think I've gotten faster through that and muscle. So, yeah, I'm super excited to get out there and play football again, probably 10 pounds up from the spring game and almost 20 from when I got here. So.
Probably a different level of depth to this offense, but how much has going through that process in high school, learning a new system every year, kind of helped you adjust going into year one here?
Yeah, just always be on the fly. I think I'm used to things, it being the first time I've done something like that. I'm used to, changing it up, having to study installs. I think if I would have been in the same offense for 4 years in high school, like most kids, I wouldn't have had to study, the offense every summer. I would have known it and just been able to build on it. But I think in college, no matter what system you're in, you got to study it week in, week out, off season, whenever. And I think it really just taught me to do that and set me up for success.
Where are you in that process? Do you feel like you've already got a really good understanding of things, or is that just always going to kind of be a work in progress the first couple of years?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think X's and O's. I think I've done good at that, but there's a difference between knowing the plays and going and doing it. So I think with experience, it'll grow for sure.
Obviously, every quarterback wants to start, but what do you like about the competition, and how does it make you better?
I think the part of competition that I like is the competition aspect. Always making each other better, pushing. You can't ever take a day off. Even Landry Jones always stresses you can't even take a play off. Even if you're not in, you got to be dialed into what's going on, because if you're not, the other guy will. So.
A lot of people don't know a lot about the receivers you guys have. What would you tell people who maybe they have not seen a lot of Mike and Braylon and those guys play? If you guys have some freshmen behind them, how good can this room be, and what do people need to know about them?
Yeah, I think we've got obviously new faces to the field and to the fans, but I think a lot of talented guys. I think they showed that all spring. They worked hard in the summer. They really put their head down. They got a sense of urgency to them now that they know that it's on them. I think a lot of the young guys really like the receivers in my grade. I think they did a really good job. I think Ra showed it in the spring game. Travis super consistent. Obviously college ready body, stuff like that. And Joe's came in nice. He wasn't able to come during spring, but he's done a really good job since he got here.
George, from the moment you first saw Rodarius playing 7-on-7 with him to now, how much has he grown? And like, where do you see his game improving and expanding?
Yeah, I think for a guy like Rodarius, the sky's the limit. Kind of came in as a raw talent, and he's working every day. He's worked hard. He's put his head down. I think he's another guy who's already put on 20 pounds, something like that. And we obviously saw that he's a gamer. We got to see that he's a gamer in the spring game. He's my top target, him and Jack. And I think he'll kind of be a guy you can just throw it up to, and he's got the odds that he'll come down with it.
You talk about your emergency contact being Desan Brame. Do you feel like Desan kind of not being able to go through spring the way Jack was, seeing Jack have the success in spring, that was kind of a like, oh, I got to push gas here. Like, I mean, if you see, because the notion is he's really had a nice summer run.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's a guy that had to battle injuries in high school, had to battle injuries when he got here, and he's just ready to play. Hassan, he works hard every day. Him and Jack push each other. I think they're going to be a great 1-2 punch together, down the line here. And, emergency contact, on the field, on the phone, whatever. So.
Jordan, you described your commitment as a calling to be a volunteer, so how are you planning to embody that on and off the field approaching the season?
Man, now that I'm here, I think it's just a blessing to represent this great state. I think, I have a sense of pride in the state and being able to play here, and yeah, exactly.
How's your relationship with Jake grown in this offseason with everything that's going on?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're the only 2 quarterbacks who have been here through everything since I got here in December, and he's kind of been a go-to guy. He knows the offense really well. If I ever need to have a question about the system or just a minor detail, I'll ask him. And he's not going to shy away and not answer because we're in a competition. He'll always answer, and he's usually always right. So he's a good guy for that.
Well, what have throwing sessions been like since the spring? Like, are there guys that you've regularly been doing it with, or what have those been like for you?
They've been highly competitive. I think there's been a sense of urgency this summer of a lot of guys, knowing they haven't played a ton, but very talented guys that we think can obviously go do it this year. And there's a sense of urgency to getting better every day, especially if it's just routes on air. And we'll continue routes on air during fall camp, but we're glad to get the extra chemistry and reps with all summer. So
I know there's a lot of guys like you that are young, but there's talent on this offense. What do you think about the talent on this offense in 2025?
Yeah, I think we're very talented. I think we definitely have to put it together. I think Lance and Chris, I think they're the main guys coming back that got a ton of reps last year, and Miles and everything else. Everybody else is just really hungry to prove that they can do it too. So.
What's been your approach just as being the younger guy in this quarterback battle? Does that kind of motivate you to kind of work a little harder, or what is that like for you?
Yeah, I knew coming in there was a lot to learn, a lot of weight to gain, and a lot of relationships to build. And I think every day I've tried to do that, just attack all 3 of those phases every single day.
How much weight have you gained where you're at right now?
I'm up about 16 pounds since I got here. I'm pushing 200. So.
Are you still on a regular food? You have to add a lot of weight, or is it weight room, or is it food, or is it both?
I would say both. I think food is definitely probably the biggest part, but I think our strength staff does a really good job of player load, stuff like that, and we get to work brick squad at 7 a.m. All the freshmen, we get to work. So.
Especially being part of a quarterback competition, I'm sure it's tricky to come into a new program like Joey and not walk around like you're the guy when you haven't been named the guy, obviously. But he's started at previous schools, and he's talked about him being personable. So how does he kind of walk that line of like being confident and easy to get along with, but not walking around with his chest puffed out like he's already the guy? Like, has he kind of settled in well to kind of handle both extremes there, I guess?
Yeah, I would say he's handled it really well. I think he's been there, done that. Obviously, he won over App State straight out of JUCO, and he won over JUCO straight out of, I guess it was high school or gap years or whatever it was. He's already done it at 2 other places, and he's done a good job of it here. I think just building relationships. I wouldn't say like he's winning. Like he's not like he's just building relationships through everybody. It's not like a competition who can build the most relationships. Sure. Like he's just just being himself, and everyone likes him. So
yeah. And when you've got a quarterback battle, you're also on the same team as them, so you've got to kind of be on the same team as them, really. So have you kind of approached this healthy competition and just healthy competition, but also knowing that they're your teammate and you got to be there?
Yeah, kind of like what I just said. I mean, I think the competition's out on the field. There's not a competition, off the field. I think we all help each other, and there's not cliques in the team of we're supporting this guy, I think everybody's just whoever Coach Hype chooses, we're going to trust them to go win the football game. So
you guys were all up there on the stage after the spring game talking about how you plan to handle the whole aftermath of that situation. Has that made this team closer? How have you seen the team kind of rally around each other since all that?
Yeah, I think when something's that big in the media, obviously teams are counting us out. Media is counting us out, and I think we love that, and we want to go out there and prove ourselves this year.
Are y'all aware of that like preseason magazine and stuff have had y'all like 10th and 11th in the SEC and 9th at SEC Media Days? Like, has that been talked about much? Or?
I wouldn't say that the coaches don't talk about it. And we're just focused on getting better ourselves. But we'd be lying if we didn't see it. So it definitely puts a chip on our shoulder.
enrolling early in January, was it a lot to process just going through college and then college football both at the same time?
I would say so. Yeah, it's definitely a difference just living on our own. And, you know, all our best friends are back home, still in high school, and you kind of just feel disconnected. But I'm glad I came. If I would have stayed home, I would have been mad that I didn't come. So, yeah, I think I got a lot better, obviously physically, but just mentally another 6 months in the offense and learning stuff just really helped me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.